Hi, I'm Tracy Reinick, Zac's senior stock strategist, and I'm back again with some more earnings charts, but this time I'm covering those Mag 7s because I always do these days. Every quarter we're looking at them. They are obviously the market leaders, and some people are calling them defensive stocks now. Is the Mag 7 really defensive? I don't know. We're going to take a look at what these charts look like. But I'm bringing you 6 out of the 7 today because NVIDIA already reported a couple of weeks ago, and we already know what that chart looks like. But which of these charts is really the best out of the Mag 7s? One of them is leading us off this week. It will be Tesla, but unfortunately, that isn't the best chart, but we're all going to be focused on it. So let's take a look. Okay, Tesla will lead off the Mag 7s for earnings, and you can see it looks kind of like a mess. It has beat last quarter, but barely, just 2.5%. And then it had the 2 misses, and then it had another beat back here in 2024. But people in Tesla have never really cared about the earnings misses and beats. It hasn't even really cared about the earnings because the earnings look kind of nasty here. You can see the estimates have all been coming down, and we don't have growth expected for 2025. And if we probably aren't going to get it, it will be the third year in a row that earnings have fallen for Tesla, expected to be down 32% this year, but a bigger jump up next year just because it will be so low. So up here in 2026, up 48.5%. So that's good news. And then you can see 2027 is looking even better there. But a lot going on with Tesla. The shares have rebounded, looking back like they want to be at the new high again. Year to date, they're now back up 17.6%. So that is looking good, but very volatile, as you can see. And obviously, valuations still through the roof, but again, nobody cares about that with Tesla. I want to know more about the robotaxi. Will they be rolling it out to paying customers soon in Austin? And what is happening in other cities? What's happening with the robots? How are the new stripped down cars selling? They just rolled that out, so we won't have that much data, but we should have some indication of what is happening with those cheaper Tesla models now. So a lot going on with Tesla. It's going to lead us off. Does it have the momentum to continue here? We're about to see Tesla TSLA. Not the best chart, as you can see, even with that breakout happening, but not the best out of the Mag 7s. So let's turn to one that looks a little more pleasant. Microsoft. It's reporting next week, October 29th, and it's going to be a triple whammy day on October 29th. Microsoft, Alphabet, Meta, all reporting after the bell that day. Craziness will ensue. You know, I don't know what the analysts are going to do or any of us who are watching all of the action on October 29th. But Microsoft, you can see, very different picture than what we just saw with Tesla. On the earnings side, just one miss back here in 2022. It is an earnings all-star. And then look at this earnings growth up and to the right, very consistent. That's what it's known for. Fiscal 2026, this line here, up 12.9. Fiscal 2027, looking a little more bullish, up 16%. Still a bit stretched on the valuation, even with this kind of timeout over the last year and a half before the stock broke out again to another new highs. It's trading with that PE of 33, but nobody cares about PEs with these big tech giants, but price to sales still really stretched at 13.5. So that's above 10, very expensive on price to sales. But shares, again, up 23.5%. Year to date, and we've got this nice breakout happening. So we'll see if it can push even higher from here. I own it in my own personal portfolio, and I know many of you do too. That's Microsoft MSFT. Then we're going to switch over to Alphabet. This chart, even though Microsoft's is very good, It doesn't have quite the earnings surprise track record. It's got the 4 misses back here, but it's got a little bit better on the actual chart action. And we've got a big breakout, and it's very close to breaking out again. And we've got pretty good earnings growth, at least for 2025, 23.6%. 2026, though, you can see it here with this blue line. They're expecting a little bit slower growth, 7.2, and then 2027 looking bullish again. But is this right? Is this really going to be that much slower for next year? They've got a lot going on, just like Tesla. They've got the Waymo, obviously YouTube, and a lot going with their advertising as always. So this is going to be definitely one to watch, even with those 4 misses. I am putting Alphabet up as one of the better charts out of the Mag 7 year to date, up 35.5%. And it's among the cheaper of the Mag 7's price to sales ratio of only 8.3. Now that's a little high still, but it's not over 10 like a lot of the Mag 7s are. So we've got among the cheaper with the PE of just 25. So that is Alphabet, GOOGL. I also own Alphabet in my own personal portfolio. Okay, moving on to Meta. They're also reporting on October 29th, just like Alphabet and Microsoft. And I don't know, maybe this one should take the prize for the best chart. Only 3 misses back in 2022. And now it has taken off after it got rid of the metaverse and now is all in on AI. And a lot of spending going on. That's something to watch. And we're all going to be checking in on that. Earnings expected to be up 18% this year, but only 5.5 for next year. So they've got the Alphabet problem of the slower growth expected for next year, but these shares still taking off. Year to date up 21.7, but is off the recent highs a little bit here. But great earnings surprise track record with 12 beats in a row. And so Meta is going to be high on the list for a lot of people. Can it get the momentum back? What about valuations? PE of 25, just like Alphabet. Price to sales a little more stretched at 10. So it's hanging out right there at the danger zone, as I like to say. But this is definitely on the cheaper side for the Mag 7s. So this is Meta, META. Then we're going to take a quick look at Apple. This is the one that is not the AI play per se. It's still focusing on its hardware and content, but these shares are hitting new all-time highs as I'm recording this on October 20th, but not up much year to date, just 8.3% year to date. So it looks better on the charts, but you can see the other all-time high was back here in December of 2024. So that's, basically round tripped over all of these months. Look at earnings. It's looking a little better, but the analysts still not super bullish to be raising here. But 2025 expected to be up 9%. 2026, this light blue line up 6.7, much like Meta and Alphabet, a little bit slower growth expected for next year, but Apple has been producing the slower growth. Now, you might say, I don't care about Apple. It's not as big in the AI story, but maybe that'll be a good thing. I've been saying for a while that Apple's the only one that's not spending all of its cash on AI right now. And maybe they will have the edge at the end of this. We'll see. Great earnings surprise track record, just the one miss here in 2023. But after that, it's been perfect. So that is 10 or 11 beats in a row, 10, I think, perhaps. And so things look good for Apple there. And I'll be keeping an eye on it. It is not cheap and hasn't been for a long time. PE of 32, price to sales even at 9.1. You are paying up a lot for those sales. So that's Apple, AAPL. And we're going to finish it up with Amazon. This is the laggard amongst the Mag 7s. Now, this chart might not indicate that though, because it's trying to get back to this all-time high here at the beginning of 2025, but it's pulled back again. But if you actually go back and look, it has not been a great performer, even over the last 2 years. And year to date, the shares are now down 2.4. And over this 5-year time period, it's actually underperforming the S&P 500 by quite a bit now. But is it cheap? Price to sales of just 3.4. That's the cheapest of the Mag 7s. And you do have earnings growth here that's looking pretty good. Let's take a look at where you can see what it is. So this year up 23.5, and then next year another 12.2. So that's pretty good earnings growth, with the analysts actually getting more bullish. And we've got double-digit sales growth expected as well. They've got so many different businesses, but they're going big into AI. They have the cloud-based business. They have Whole Foods. They've got obviously the marketplace and advertising, a lot of balls in the air with Amazon, and they're rolling out the self-driving car. I think we're going to get that soon. They are testing it, I think, the square box one that's driving around the streets. So a little bit different model than even Alphabet or Tesla, because it's going with a whole brand new look with its self-driving car. It kind of reminds me of an amusement park ride where you just kind of get in and it goes, and there's nobody actually driving. There's not supposed to be. So we'll see what is up Amazon's sleeves this quarter, but they're on the 30th, joining Apple on October 30th. So we'll have 2 big days in a row, 29th and 30th. We'll get most of these names out of the way. But first, Tesla will be reporting this week. So be sure to tune in on that one. And again, out of all of these stocks, I do own Microsoft. Alphabet and Amazon are my picks out of the Mag 7. I'm a long-term holder in all 3 of those, going back almost 7 or 8 years with most of those, almost 10 years now with Amazon. So I know many of you own one or all of these, and let's be honest, we own all of them if we own the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ or any kind of techie type of ETF, wide market, wide tech market ETF. So these are the huge ones. Are they defensive? I don't know. They're almost all breaking out. Several are expensive, but not excessively so. And we still have good earnings growth. That is the key on all except for Tesla. So eyes will be on Tesla this week, and I'll be tuning in. You will not want to miss all of our earnings charts, videos. Get them all. Go to Zacks.com/YouTube to get our page on YouTube. Subscribe there. You'll get everything. But I'm bringing you some more because in addition to Tesla, lots of big names reporting this week, including the first gold miner. So be sure to tune in. I have that for you next.